A lot of towns owe their existence to the coming of the railroad. One good example of that is Saline, Louisiana, in Bienville parish. Before 1905 or so, the current town of Saline didn't exist. There was another town of Saline that was about 2 miles to the northwest, and when the railroad came through, the town moved, or community I should say, it was more of a community than a town, but the community moved and set up a village here in Saline. The original town of Saline was located near Old Saline Baptist Church, hence the name Old Saline. The train that passed through Saline was the Louisiana and Northwest Railroad. At Gippsland, passengers could change trains and take the Vicksburg, Shreveport, and Pacific west towards Minden, Shreveport, and on to Texas, or east to reach Arcadia, the parish seat, Ruston, Monroe, and on to Mississippi. Nowadays, we can drive the curvy roads up and down hills from Saline to Gippsland in about 35 minutes. On the train, which traveled on a straight and fairly level course, the trip took about 2 hours and 20 minutes. One of the main draws for Saline was the sawmill. Most of the industry around here had to do with the timber industry. Before the sawmill began production in Saline, cotton was the main source of revenue in this area, as this newspaper clipping from May 1905 indicates. In the summer of 1905, the sawmill called Saline Stave Factory began milling mainly pine logs into lumber. I received permission from the property owner to take a look at the property and see what of the sawmill still exists and to film it for posterity. So let's take a look. You'll notice I'm wearing my hunter's orange. It is hunting season here in Louisiana, but even if it's not, anytime you go on, into the woods, it's a good idea to wear hunter's orange. So let's go take a look and see what we can find. This is the small village of Saline. That's the bank right there, the closest building. The railroad tracks used to go right here. You can see kind of right there the indention. This is where the railroad tracks went through. When they tore down the depot, they built this house out of the materials. I used old maps to give me a general idea of the building placements and location of the rail line. I've heard that there is still an old steam engine somewhere on the property, and I hope I can find it. It may look like I'm walking a long distance, but I'm actually walking in a zigzag pattern to better my chances of finding evidence of the sawmill. I'm actually only a couple of 100 yards from the main highway. As I was walking along the old rail line, I noticed a pond. This may have been the log pond, which would have been used to store logs for a rainy day, you might say. In periods when loggers were unable to gather trees due to rain, the sawmill relied on their supply in the log pond. It was important to store them in water rather than on dry land so as to preserve the logs against drying defects such as cracking and checking, and to prevent them against bug and fungi infestations. It's overgrown now, but while the sawmill was in operation, this area would have been kept clear of trees and other debris. No matter where there are humans, there will be trash. Look at this old Welch's bottle. Look at the remnants of this old building. You see blocks and brick, solid brick. You can see the outline of one of the old buildings here. Oh yeah, see all the blocks here? Where we're going is right through there. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there are grooves in the ground, and I wonder, there are grooves in between the blocks, and I wonder if that was for the railroad tracks. You can see another one over here. But this was definitely a building. There's a wall over here to the west side. There's a continuation of that wall. Look at that big solid wall over here. See, there's part of it leaning up against a tree over there. We'll get closer so you can see that. Big concrete block. Something was mounted here. Oh, this wall has collapsed. As you can see, there's a lot of block out here. Some sort of machinery was mounted here. You can see the places right there where it was mounted to. There's 4 or 5 of these. There's more blocks right there. Yeah, you can see a path where the train tracks went through here. There's another building, another part of that wall. Oh! Oh, now we're off of the bricks. That whole thing that I was just walking on up to right here, up to right there, is stonework. That whole path there. You can feel the ground under my feet shifting. That's the footing for another piece of equipment, it appears. Another footing there. Piece of steel. This is an old drive shaft and pulley. It would have been connected to a steam engine by a wide leather belt, which would have powered a saw or some other piece of equipment used by the sawmill. Let me show you an example of this type of pulley. Look at this. Let's look at this Coke bottle. Tyler, Texas. This piece of Coke bottles from Natchitoches. See that cable right there? The tractor tire. Wow. Wow. How long has it been since you've seen a Coke bottle with a bottom like that on it? Look at this beer bottle. I would assume that this was either a mechanic shop or somebody who really loved engines. There are tons of old engine parts. This building is much too dangerous to get any closer to. Probably been here 100 years, but it would be really bad if today was the day it decided to give way. Here's another bottle I came across. Let's see if I can read it. LG 59 734, contents 5.5 fluid ounces, 56. I'm going to put that back where I found it. All right. There are some more buildings out here. We're going to see if we can figure out what they are. Whoop. Some sort of machinery was mounted there and to that one. If any of you know what all these pieces are, let me know in the comments, because I'm not certain. Another collapsed building. The best way around it. Look at this pit. You don't have to be too far from this stuff and it just disappears into the foliage. Wow, look at that. Look at this pool. Now what would that have been for? You can see notches in the sides where you can see where something bounced into it. Try to get close to one of them without falling in. See that notch right there in the center? They only went one direction. All throughout here, these holes out here that can trip you up really easy. If you step in one, those things can go for several feet down. I stepped in one earlier and went to my knees. That's why I carry a walking stick. You can always put it sideways, and that's why I carry a walking stick. You can put it down and try to catch yourself so you don't hit the ground. I hope you can see this. See how it's got an arched top? This is the old kiln. After they cut the timber, they would put it, see there's another side of the kiln. Look how tall these things were. Oh, look at this. You stepped in a hole. Look at that. I'm telling how far that one goes down. Not a good place for children to play. Of course, it'd be difficult for them to get out here, but there is a house that's just right there. That piece of railroad steel sticking up in the ground right there. Well, that's something I wasn't expecting to find out there. It's the back of a car. Can you identify this car? What make and model? Let's get a closer look. Wasn't expecting to find a car out here. Look at this. Wow. That piston. I'm surprised that we found as much as we did of the old sawmill here in Saline. The interesting thing about it is it's just, 100 yards from Main Street, from the main highway in downtown Saline. Makes me wonder what else is lurking just beyond our view. Maybe one day we'll rediscover it. Until then, I'm Brad Dison. Thank you for watching.